My dear students, we are discussing different components of interview. So beware of prejudice. Most people have prejudice of some sort if the applicant are to be appraised objectively. It is important that these prejudices don't impinge on the decision of selection. If they are impinging on a selection decision, it is not a good idea. Otherwise, the interviewer runs the risk of losing good candidates and leaving the way open to charges of discrimination. Because if you have such kind of a discriminatory issues with yourself, obviously you can be a lawsuit. So you must need to avoid such kind of issues. Interviewer must know their prejudice and recognize when they exist. Whilst we believe that there is a basis in the reality of our own experience, most of them don't stand up to the scrutiny. And this is not a good idea. It is also worthy trying to identify the line manager's prejudice before starting to recruit so that the interviewer has the opportunity to counter them before the event. So whatever you need to do, it needs to have a proactive approach rather than reactive approach. There are some questions which must need to be recommended and there are some questions which are not recommended. So there is a table in which we are showing the subject, then question not recommended and questions which are recommended. So if you have a subject of name, then there are questions which are not recommended. What is your maiden name? Have you ever used any other name? Have you ever worked under another name? Or have you ever changed your name? Such kind of questions are not recommended. While the recommended questions in the same subject would be, have you ever worked for this company under a different name? There are possibilities that people may change their name and they work with a different name in the same company, as if is additional information relative to a change in a name. If there are some change in a name, obviously you need to provide a documentary evidence. And then there is another subject called as address. Do you own or rent your home? This is not a relevant question in any particular job. How long have you lived at this address? This is also not much relevant and such kind of questions are not recommended. While the recommended question is very straightforward, very specific, very succinct. What is your address? Where do you live? It's a very simple question. So you don't need to talk about the owning of the home or the renting of the home. Then another area very sensitive is the age. Not recommended questions. How old are you? What is your date of birth? And are you between age 18 and 24 or 25 and 35, etc.? And the recommended questions are you above the minimum working age of this? So you must have to manage the legal requirement of the age. The rest of the things are just ridiculous, are just nonsense. Then physical experience, you have to talk. How tall are you? How much do you weigh? What is the color of your eyes and hair? Such kind of questions are not recommended at all because it may lead to the discrimination. So recommended questions are none in this particular area. No need to ask any questions about the physical appearance. Then there are some questions which are very tricky in some countries, sometime in Pakistan as well. Citizenship and national origin. What country are you a citizen? Where were you born? Where were your parents born? Are you a nationalized or a native born citizen, etc.? So recommended question, are you a citizen of this country? If yes, that's great. If you are not a citizen, do you have the legal right to work in this country on a permanent basis? That is a recommended question. And then there is another area called as a marital status. What is your current marital status? Have you ever been married, divorced? Or do you wish to be addressed as Mrs., Miss or Miss? So I think it is not a good idea to talk about such kind of things during the interview. A recommended question for the marital status is none. Most probably it is mentioned on your resume or in your application form. So it can be married or divorced. So no need to be more specific about this particular subject. In conclusion, these all components are important to consider while conducting an interview. But in addition to these subjects, there are some other subjects which need to be considered and we will discuss in the next slide.